bullets and shotguns, sunlight and moonshine, fast cars, guitars, grapes on the vine, got them for a good time. That's the only reason I need, and it's a damn good excuse to kick back, sip some Jack, crank up some tunes, have a hold down, flow down, windows roll down kind of day. That's how we rock when you roll out my way, my way. You never partied till you partied in my country. Rednecks, white beans, blue catfish, skin clean, fried up down south.
My name is Raymond Shook with Shook's Custom Firearms. This is my SDI FTT 201 Week 7 Practical. Instructor's name is Matthew Baker. Today's date is July 4th, 2023. We'll be going over the hydro dipping process. We'll begin by going over the contents of the box that we received. We will also be going over how to clean and prepare my stock for my Savage Axis XD2. I'll also be showing how to hydro dip, beginning by spray painting and going through the hydro dip process. Let's begin by going over the contents of this box we received. I'll be right back with you. Okay, and the kit we received from the school, it's a HydroDip.com kit. We have a little package here. Let me open this up. Maybe. That's some pretty good packaging. It just stretches and stretches. Place a little hole in that. Okay, inside the package, we have a small brush. Not sure why it's curved, but we got a small brush. We have a pair of gloves, which is one inside of another. We have our tack cloth for after we get to help the paint stick. We have our easy wipes, which is a degreaser. We also have our scouring pad, or as most people know it as, a Scotch-Brite pad. We'll get in here a little further. We have our instruction book, a little paper that shows how to get a full hydro dipping kit. As you can see, it goes through the whole instruction process dealing with the hydro dipping. Let's start with our base coat. We have a tan base coat. We have our HydroDip activator, or hydrovator as they call it. And we have our flat clear coat for when we finish. And I have yet to open this to see which pattern they sent me. This will be a surprise for all of us. Let me get it opened up. And we will see what we got. Let me get this little piece of masking tape pulled up. Looks like it's some type of interesting, almost digital camouflage pattern. See if I can block that light enough to give you an idea. Kind of hard to see. We'll roll that back up for now. Okay, the next step will be preparing and degreasing the stock that I will be using. Put that back in the plastic for now. Alright, we're going to start by using these easy wipes to remove any dust, contaminants, or grease that may be on the firearm already. We're going to take this, we're going to wipe down the stock and the trigger guard to ensure that everything is clean before we start scuffing. I'm going to set this over here so we can set the wipe back on it here in a second. We'll start with the trigger guard first. We'll do the areas that we're going to be cleaning. Thoroughly scrub it. As you can see, it's already picking up some dirt, some grime. Part of that's probably gun oil as well. We're now going to move on to the actual stock. I'm going to go ahead and clean the whole thing. So make sure you scrub it pretty good. I'm going to be taping off the rubber buttstock. So I want to make sure that that's clean. That way the tape sticks. Make sure we scrub it really good. I'm going to have tape covering all this right here. So I'm just going to kind of wipe that down. Just to ensure the tape will stick to that. Down here on the bottom, I'm going to cover this little cap with tape. And I'm going to cover the sling mounts with tape. I'm going to be using these two sling mounts to hang it while I paint it, and while applying the clear coat. Right down here where we got the stippling, I'm going to cut the tape so that way the stippling itself does not get covered. I want to keep that available, just mainly for the grip aspect. She should be pretty well clean. Now we're going to move on to the scuffing. Set my rag over here for the time being. We're going to take our scuff pad. We're just going to give it a good scuff just to knock off any protective layer that may be on there. So that way when we go to paint it, the paint will stick. Like I said up here, I'm not wanting to cover the butt pad. So I'm not going to really scuff that too much. This is an important step I missed before on a couple projects. I didn't have it properly scuffed. As you can see, my hand is staying inside the magazine well. That kind of helps keep from getting grease off my hands onto the part. Stand it up. Use this area here to hold it until that's not being scuffed. Instead, I'm not going to do the cap. So I'm not going to be scuffing the cap. The main purpose here is not to sand down on anything, it's just mainly to get that surface protection off. And when I get done, I am going to be re-bluing these because they came from the factory, already missing a little bit of the paint. So I'm going to be using my code bluing just to re-blue these. So I'm kind of scuffing those up a little bit. I'll be putting tape over them, but I'll be getting them prepared a little better later on. This being my first HydroDip job, I don't expect it to look 100% professional, but I'm going to do my best to make it look professional. And we're trying to knock the sheen off of it. Give it kind of a dull look. I'm trying to decide which firearm I wanted to use on this project. It was kind of a tough choice because I have other ideas for a few of my other firearms. And this one here is going to be the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's mainly going to be my hunting rifle. So I figured I live in a sandy area, so with this being that tan color and having kind of that desert tan look from what I could tell from looking at the HydroDip film, I figured that would be perfect for this area for deer hunting. Later on, I may find a different one that I like and just redo it. And if I do that, I'll be doing a video on how to remove the hydro film. And how to completely redo it. That should be scuffed pretty good. We're going to grab our wipe again. Just going to go over it and give it one last cleaning and degreasing. And then we'll scuff the trigger guard here in a second, just to ensure that it's clean. Then I'm going to go over these one more time with rubbing alcohol just to ensure that there's no residue whatsoever left on. Rubbing alcohol is fast drying, You just don't want to overdo it on plastic, as it can leave a white residue. The reason I didn't go with acetone, because acetone can actually mess up the plastic surfaces. Back over here, we're going to move this back, scuff the trigger guard. What I have planned for the barrel later on, I plan on doing a Cerakote video and Cerakoting the barrel and the receiver. Just because with heat transfer and everything else, I feel better having that ceramic coating that Cerakote offers. Plus, it also offers that extra protection against scratches, scrapes, stuff like that you may encounter while going through the brush while hunting. I think that's pretty well scuffed up. And get rid of not so clean as well. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab the rubbing alcohol and some blue shop towels. And we'll finish cleaning this. You can see we've got our 91% isopropyl alcohol. Like I said, the main reason I like using this is it's a quick dry. You just don't want to use too much. The reason I'm using these blue shop towels, they're a little more absorbent, a little more forgiving in case you rub it up against an edge, less likely to leave pieces behind. This is a brand new bottle, hasn't been used yet. Here my trash tin. Just want to get a little bit of it. What we're going to do, we're just going to wipe it just to make sure we get any extra residue off that we may have missed. What we can do, we can turn it over, get a nice little scrub. Trigger guard does have a couple sharp points that like to snag. Okay, we've got that finished. I'm going to set it over here out of the way. Like I said, rubbing alcohol is very fast drying, so you have to be fairly fast with it. We're going to tape a little bit more, add it to our blue rag. Once again, holding it here where we know that we're not going to be painting or anything. That's it. You want to kind of just do an area when you want to take the dry part of your rag and just wipe it down. That helps prevent it from getting any type of residue that could be harmful. That white residue that I was talking about. It's more of an aesthetic deal. We just don't take any chances with the paint. Now I'm going to take the dry part again and wipe it down. I'm going to grab a fresh rag and lay it on its side. Fold it. Once again, it gives me a nice little area where my fingers don't take a chance on poking through. See our hand inside the mag well. Clean it pretty good. Just come back with the dry part and we'll dry it off. We're going to rub alcohol on our rags. We're going to come up, finish this side of it. Then take the clean part. The reason I'm changing out rags between each side is, as you can see, it does pick up some residue that was left behind by the other stuff. So by making sure you have a clean rag, it'll help ensure that your surface is clean. Some people might say it's a waste of rags, but I'd rather be safe than sorry when it comes to applying a finish on a firearm. The original product I got, according to all the online reviews, it was safe for plastic, but I went up there and was going to buy the product. The degreasing this, it was goo gone, goo off. And after reading on the package, it says that it will cause damage to plastics. So upon more research, I read that there's quite a few people who use 91% rubbing alcohol, and that's what made me make my final choice. Plus, for the price of what rubbing alcohol is, I'll be able to do multiple projects. That looks like she's pretty much cleaned up. Just going to wipe down the top right here. Just that little bit. Just to ensure it's clear, so that way the tape sticks. The reason I'm not going to coat this top right here, because I don't want to take any chances of the HydroDip creating too wide of an area, and that makes it too tight of a clearance, so everything don't go together. Alright, our next step will be spray painting, and I will get back to y'all here in a minute once I get this set up for painting. We now have everything prepped. I've got the tan base coat. I forgot to include on the last video the tack cloth, but I did use the tack cloth to prepare everything. Got everything masked off. I'm gonna use the tan base coat. We're gonna cover the trigger guard and the stock. I'll apply one coat, wait a couple minutes, and apply a second coat. I'll get back to you. Let's get the first coat, then I'll stop the video and we'll go to the second coat. Now, something to remember, your first coat don't have to fully cover the product that you're painting. All that does is it provides a good tack coat for the second coat. Let me show you what I mean. As you can see, I didn't fully cover it. I just provided a nice base area for that way it can, the second coat will fully adhere to it. Like I said, as you can see, it just mainly there to provide a good base coat. Now I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, then I'm gonna apply the second coat. All right, now we're gonna come through, we're gonna apply our second coat of tan over it. And with this coat, we wanna fully cover the black. We want full color coverage. You still don't wanna put it on too thick and make it extremely wet where it'll start running and dripping. You just want a nice, even coat. So we're gonna get to that, and I'll be back with you. All right, we've applied the second coat. I'm gonna flip the camera around. We're gonna look to see how we did. As you can see, I got that nice, even tan coating, full coverage. All the way around it. Kind of hard to see on this side because it's in the shade. We got that nice even tan coating. One of the hardest parts, let me get on the other side, we got a little more light. See right here where we got the stippling? Sometimes that stippling don't like to take paint and you have to do a couple touch-ups on it. Looks like we did a fairly decent job on the stippling this time around. Like I said, I kept the stippling right up here on for the finger grips. I'm gonna leave that black. Just to give it, just that way I have that real nice grip when I go to shooting. We're gonna let her dry and we're gonna HydroDip it. Okay, now that we have got everything painted and ready to start HydroDipping, I've got my HydroDip laid out. One way to tell is you wet your fingers. Just gonna kind of wet my fingers. You want to make sure you got the shiny side down. One way you can do it, wet your fingers and see which side is sticky. I've got the sticky side down. I've measured it off. I need about 40 inches of film to do my stock. I'm going to take my razor blade. I'm going to bring it down as straight as possible. Mark it. And I'm going to move my tape measure. I'm going to come back and I'm going to finish cutting it. Now that I have a good reference point, should just pull apart. If not, you bring your blade back across it one more time. And we can even take our blade and just run it along underneath, just to finish up that few little spots that it may not have cut all the way. You can see I got a little bit off, but it's alright because I added about 5 inches on each side. This will be for the stock. We're going to roll this back. I'm going to temporarily roll this up so I can cut the second piece, which will be for the trigger guard. And I estimated about 12 inches of film for that. We will set this up here out of the way and take our tape measure again. We're going to take about 12 inches. Once again, that's giving a little bit on each edge to ensure that I have plenty of room to work with. I'm going to take my blade. I'm going to put a little mark. That way I know where I need to cut. I'm going to follow this mark as straight as possible down it. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to separate it. There we go. It's now separated. I'm going to put the remaining film back inside its little sleeve to help protect it. Now what we do, and use this mat, we're going to take our masking tape, and we want to tape around the edges. This fits a border to help keep the HydroDip film from running off on us. You want to make sure to do that on all four sides. Well, I stuck it down to the mat just a little bit. I'm going to fold that over. Alright. This also helps keep it from rolling up while it's on the water. You can see it's trying to roll up here on me. I'm just going to use that little tab there to help hold it down while I lay it. I'm going to lay these two sides. Try to keep it as wrinkle free as possible. It's going to wrinkle up a little bit, but you want to try to prevent that as much as possible. Alright, now that we got that, got this little bit out here, I'm just going to peel that off. Okay, we have this piece here taped up, ready to go. Once again, I'm going to take these corners and I'm just going to set them up underneath so they're out of the way. Okay, that piece is taped up, ready to go. We have the shiny side down towards the bottom. The tape is marking the top part. That way we know this side faces up. Now we're going to do the bigger piece. I'm going to go ahead and roll this one. I'm just going to set this one aside. I've got a chair behind me. I'm going to set it on it for the time being. Now we take our bigger piece. Once again, shiny side down. I rolled it up so I would remember what was what. I'm going to run a piece the full length down this. Put a little tab down here to help hold it in place. I have to move it over just a little bit. Let me move my screwdriver set. Then my punches. So that way we got a nice area. Set this up underneath. And I'm just going to use this to kind of hold that corner until I grab my tape. If I remember where I put it. Okay, we have our tape. We're going to run it down this side as well. Just going to put a little tab up here on top to kind of help hold it. Okay, now we're going to go the full length. Try to keep wrinkles out of it as much as possible. But you may end up with a few wrinkles, but it should even out when it's in the water. There we go. Now once again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take this corner section, bend it over, so I don't try to stick on anything else. And now we will go out there and we will HydroDip. Alright, we have our film sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and set it down inside the water, shiny side down. I'm going to kind of make sure we get any air bubbles out of it before we start. I've already shaken up the activator. I'm going to shake it a little bit more. You want to hold the can at a little bit of an angle. And we just want to do nice consistent passes across it until we get a nice glossy look. Right there, we have a nice glossy look. I can almost see the sky behind me. We're going to take our part. There's going to be HydroDip off of the hangers. We're going to hold it on the end where I'm not going to HydroDip. We're going to start by setting it in at about a 30-degree angle. And we're going to roll it to get the coat. Now we take it under, get our tape off of it. We want to try to shake it, get as much of that loose off as we can. Alright, now we're going to take it over to our water hose. While I'm holding it by the buttstock, we're going to rinse it off to get any of this liquefied off. I got some tape here. Holding it. I'm going to pull our masking tape off. Better area to hold. You can see none of this doesn't want to come off. My film ended up moving on me. I don't think I had enough activators. little mess. Spraying. That's going to rub some of this liquefied film off. Right there, just go ahead and stop it. Alright, we're going to try this again with our trigger guard. Hopefully it turns out a little bit better, as we had a minor mishap earlier. Set this ending first. Slowly drop it down, prevent any air bubbles. There we go. Looks good. We're going to take our activator. Let that kind of sit there for a second. We're going to take our activator. And once again, nice coats. We'll get that shiny look. There we go, we got a nice shiny look. We're going to take our trigger guard, try this again, set it in at about a 30-degree angle. For some reason it only covered part of it. Instead, as you can see, most of it's stuck to my fingers. I'm going to go cut another piece of tape or another piece of film so I can get this other side. We're going to go over how it turned out and what I did wrong. Okay, as you can see, a few spots where it didn't stick, and there's a few spots on this one. Can't really see it on this, but it went down pretty good. Didn't really bubble much. So I had it close to the right amount of activator. I just didn't let the activator sit long enough before I went in. As you can see here, was little pieces of it that kind of wrinkled up on me. Once again, that's due to me not letting the activator sit long enough, and it let it kind of peel off. Personally though, I kind of like that look, as it gives it kind of a battle-worn rough finish to it. So for this project, I'm going to call this done, only because I like the way that it did turn out. I wish it would have came out a little bit better, but for a hunting rifle, that kind of makes it look like I've already been through the brush with it and used it on a few hunts. So I'm going to go ahead and just clear coat it and call it good. I know if I was doing a customer's rifle, I would end up taking it back down and redoing it. But being my personal, I like the way this turned out. Okay, at this point, I have the clear coat. I'm going to take the clear coat, I'm going to shake it up real good, and I'm going to start clear coating these parts. Alright. I'm going to do a couple more coats over these, and I'll get back with you with the finished product. While doing my first HydroDip process, this was definitely a learning experience. I didn't wait long enough for the activator to kick in, which caused the film to kind of wrinkle and kind of stick towards my firearm while I was trying to turn it. But I kind of like the way it turned out. May not be 100% professional finish, but being my first one, I didn't expect everything to go 100% right. I'm going to keep it the way it is. I think it gives it kind of a worn look, like it's been ran through the brush and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to give you a little video showing it. I've already got it clear coated, and as soon as the video's done, I'll be putting it all back together. Okay, as you can see, it kind of decided to wrap up around here and kind of wrinkle up. We get down on this end, you can kind of see where we got a few little wrinkles in some spots where it didn't quite stick right. Once again, I didn't let the activator sit long enough. You can see it on the underside as well. But to me, like I said, it gives it that cracked, kind of worn look. On this side, kind of see the wrinkles. Kind of, like I said, the wrinkles to me kind of give it kind of a cracked look. Makes it look like this rifle's been used and abused all over the place. And then the trigger guard, that piece actually came out fairly decent, as you can see. One side of it was a little better than the other. But once again, this side turned out better than the other side. Same thing with trigger guard. If I turn them both over, as you can see, that's missing a little bit more than the other side, as is the trigger guard. So it makes it look like it was used more. Okay, this is the overall look after it's been completed. This is one side of it. I'm gonna stand it up. As you can see, the other side. Said I like the way it came out with that kind of battle-worn look. Makes it look like the way this is on the cheek well, right across here. Makes it look like it's been rubbed, like it's been fired quite a bit. This here, it looks like, I mean, this whole side looks kind of battle-worn. Do I wish it would have came out a little better? Yes. But I'm kind of happy with the finished product, the way the camo is and the battle-worn look. So, thank y'all for watching my video. Maybe on the next project, it'll go a little bit better.